Right.
Alrighty, it's 17:30. We're going to call to order the Katuitt Fire District Board of Fire Commissioners meeting June 13th, 2023, at 17:30. Present.
Commissioner Zace,
Commissioner Pisano,
Commissioner Conley.
Chief Brown.
Alrighty, we have anybody recording? Chief, anybody else waiting in the waiting room?
Nobody in the waiting room. There are no chats and I did not receive any emails.
Alrighty. No public comment. Well, I'll put it out there. No public comment. Dave, you're the public right now. Do you have any public comment?
I have no public comment, but I wanted to second the excellent job you all did at the annual meeting. It was an interesting event, and I was glad to be a part of it.
Yep, well, we appreciate that. Thank you.
thanks, Dave.
We appreciate you being here tonight. Okay, gentlemen, did you have a chance to take a look at the minutes?
Yes, I did.
Any concerns,
I did.
issues?
not for me.
Nothing jumped out at me either, Chairman.
Okay, do we have any kind of a motion here? I'm gonna have a motion.
Move to accept the minutes as presented.
Second,
All those in favor?
aye,
Aye. Minutes are passed. Okay, Chief, we're gonna turn it over to you for the chief's report, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The chief's report for June 13th, 2023 Fire Commissioners meeting, and starting with the responses, we had a total of 67 responses in the month of May. 2 fire responses. One was a brush fire here in Katuitt, and one was a building fire that we went to in Mashpee. We had 49 rescue and EMS incidents. The thing I would like to point out and try to point out is that rescue and EMS is a very broad category, and in the story behind those numbers is 3 of those incidents were marine incidents. And at least one of those incidents was a serious motor vehicle accident and with a rollover.
Was that sent to it, Newton?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
2 hazardous condition calls, one of which was a carbon monoxide incident that started off as alarms sounding and reported by a passerby, and there was a second call. We had a EMS call in progress, and the recall crew took the engine down there to investigate. And it was in fact a house with occupants in it with carbon monoxide, with high levels of carbon monoxide readings. So potentially lives had saved there. They determined the source of the carbon monoxide, ventilated the building, brought the levels down. 4 service calls, 6 good intent calls, 4 false alarms, and I've added a category just to encapsulate the overlapping calls. So for the month of May, 18% of our calls were overlapping, meaning we had more than 1 call in progress at a time. So that I'll be adding that to the monthly report moving forward. Any questions on responses?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. I really appreciate some of the details and hearing. So thanks for that. It's normally we go through this. Well, we're at 49 of these and 7 of those and 2 of those. It's interesting.
Yeah,
Appreciate
yeah,
that.
thank you. And yeah, then I will add a little more detail to these moving forward to really tell.
I mean,
the story.
details that are appropriate to share.
Exactly. Yeah, yep. So,
I think it gives a little clearer picture to certainly me, but anybody who's listening about what you guys are doing and how you're doing. And like, for example, the hazardous condition thing, I always ask what those are. So thanks for filling in the blanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
And I must admit, I'm curious. It's the first time I think I have seen it. Code 542, animal rescue. What did you rescue?
That might have been ducks in the drain.
Really?
I think that might have been a duck in the drain call. I don't know. I'll have to get back.
It's okay. But, next time there's an animal rescue, please be prepared for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Noted. We do it
That
all.
begs the question. No, we won't go.
Yeah, it's, yes, it's, we do it all, so. Any other questions, comments, under responses?
No.
Okay, moving forward under administration, we have, some policies out for 10-day review. We have, documentation, apparatus fueling, promotional process, off-duty recall, and staffing. The documentation, SOP is to, guide, our personnel on the appropriate, types of events and actions that should be documented to really try to, gather and share with the community what it is that the organization does in a day. And there's just so much more that happens in the village beyond just answering emergency calls. So we created some guidance, and Deputy Chief Clark has put a lot of effort into these policies and guidance so that we can really put more reports out, so, and gather really good data to show what's happening in the village, so. And then, we're looking at, the, off-duty recall, because as we'll find a little bit later on here, when we get an update on the shared ambulance, that's coming in closer into fruition, so ensuring that we have a smooth process for getting folks back to duty to take the second calls as you see that last month, 18% were overlapping, but when you march it out over a year, the percentage of overlapping calls is significantly higher than that. And then the rest of those are apparatus fueling is pretty basic. It sounds like commercial process is just adding some structure and timeframes to the process. And then staffing was some guidance that was had to do with some of the new language in the firefighter's contract with acting for company officer level work. Any questions under administration?
Off-duty recall, chief, a new SOG on that SOP?
Yep.
Can you give us a highlight on what that is, if you would, please?
So it incorporates the IAM responding software that we mentioned in prior meetings. It's a better way of reaching our personnel and initiating callback in a more rapid process. To ensure that there's folks coming in for calls that are likely to tie up our resources.
So basically identifying IAR as part of the process.
Yep, yes,
Okay, cool.
yep,
Thank you.
yep.
Well, since we are heading into like our seasonality with like these overlapping calls, are likely, as you said, to go up. It's always reminded, whenever Memorial Day happens or the Cavaliers start, you go, oh, I guess now we're heading into busy season.
Yeah.
So do you have any sense from historical data? This is now 1 in 5 calls are overlapping.
We presented in the at the Civic Association meeting, I want to say around 48% of our, or 43%, and we put the exact percentage in that presentation. On over the course of the year, what the overlapping is. So by month, I don't have that in my fingertips, but we can run that. So
Okay.
we can look at an average.
But it is fair to say that the next few months are
Yeah,
going to be.
interestingly, anecdotal speaking, it's been my observation that it will regularly happens year round. So, but I can work to get a report that shows the if there is a kind of a seasonal rhythm in the
Yeah, that'd be
overlap
interesting.
calls.
It'd be interesting to see that as well.
Yep.
With the spike.
I don't want to ask questions that make ridiculous,
Yeah.
unnecessary busy work, but it does
No.
seem interesting to know that.
Seasonal overlap statistics. Yeah, we can run that.
Adam, before COVID, I had occasion to look at the data with Chief Rude, and it was an impressive bubble in July and August primarily. But when we started to look in the second year of COVID, as more and more people were down here year round, it actually shifted. The bulge, the total calls went up, but the bulge flattened a little bit. Now I haven't looked at it, had occasion to try to follow it over the last 2 years. I don't know what shape that distribution curve looks like now, but I would not be surprised with the increase in year-round or closer to year-round occupancy of a fair number of the homes that were strictly seasonal, that we might see an overall elevation, but a lessening of that bulge.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Commissioner. The COVID did really skew a lot of statistics, and I saw that previously. Same thing, and it's universal, I believe, speaking with other of my colleagues in the industry. So yeah, that is a valid point. That couple of year period did cooking fires went up because everybody's at home. Outside fires went up because people were doing brush pits in their yard and things of that nature, and certain other types of calls went way down, things in office complexes and things like that. So I suspect that when we run this data, we'll see probably some similar trends that COVID caused around here as well.
Great.
Any other questions under administration?
No,
When would be the appropriate heading there to just touch base about the wrap up of this year's budget, particularly the wages and salaries?
I would think that I would say an under administration would be the appropriate time. So, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely.
Okay.
In my tracking, it looks like, and again, I'm just working with Lisa's numbers and estimations, but it looks like we might squeak through with about 10,000-15,000 cushion. Is that close to what your numbers look like?
I have a meeting with Ray on Thursday to go over the numbers, but I do believe that that is going to be roughly what we come in at, but understanding that there also has to be we receive money from FEMA, and that has to be accounted for, and then that brings down some of what looks like an artificial overage right now in our salaries and wages line. And then that will even out. So the money's there, the money was spent, the money was reimbursed, but now it's just how you do that supplemental appropriation, and whether it's a warrant to add that to the budget line, and then that brings it into line. But your observations, I would say, are in line with what what I'm observing as.
Good, because it was a tough year for that category.
Yeah, but the bottom line is, I think we're gonna, as you said, Rick, just squeeze in, so I think we'll be good there.
Yeah.
Makes us all
Good.
happy.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Moving on to technology, during the last meeting, authorized me to move forward with getting the upgrades to cabling and the station done for preparation for VoIP system and the ability to hardline the computers in if needed, to have them off of the Wi-Fi. So that contract was signed with Inspire Technologies, who is the company that our IT support company works with. So, any questions under technology?
is there a Was the cost in line with what you expected?
It was less, around 6,300.
Okay,
So
and do you know when they'll be done with that cable?
I do not.
Okay,
I don't have a start date yet.
Oh, okay.
We just, I hope to have a start date prior to the end of this week.
okay, thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions on the technology? And, under personnel, in the Dropbox, you have a thank you letter from Barnstable Police Department thanking, BC Clark and firefighter Emerson for their participation in the April, active shooter hostile, response, exercise that took place in Barnstable. They sent out some thank you notes. Our new firefighter paramedic, Tom Deep, started on June 12th, and he is on days this week doing orientation and will be assigned to group 1 after orientation. So that will be this following Monday. I attended commanding general staff leadership training and advanced incident management training in Virginia last month. Chief Brown, myself and DC Clark participated in a peer support and emergencies operations center exercise in Sandwich on May 16th. DC Clark and myself assisted the district with training on the OWL system. DC Clark and Chief Brown participated in the Civic Association meeting on May 23rd. We presented a summary of what was going on in the organization, and I've since received feedback on that from a couple of different people now that was very well received, and people look forward to seeing that format again in the future. They really appreciate it. Although they, everybody recognized the importance of the detailed budget spreadsheets and all of that, they really appreciated that information on again, similar to the story behind the calls. What's the story behind these dollars that they're investing in our organization? So, and my thanks to Deputy Clark, who did a lot of work on that, and the board who was supportive of that effort.
Yeah, I would echo that comment. I think the deputy did a great job on it as well as yourself. So thank you both.
And thank you. Chief Parkton Fire Service Leadership Training Seminar sponsored by Cape and Islands Fire Chiefs Association on May 31st. Deputy and I participated in the annual district meeting on May 31st. Thank you again to the community for their support of the fire department. And that is the end of the personnel report, personnel section of the report. Any questions and comments?
Hey, remind me who else is on group 1 with Tom?
That will be recently promoted to Lieutenant McPherson and firefighter paramedic Doug Williamson.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Paramedic. Yep.
Chief,
sir.
before we go on, I had this is an entirely trivial comment, but under the training report, the last item lists the CPR class at Kings Grant Racquetball Club. The proper name is Kings Grant Racket Club, and the avid tennis players there do take exception when they are confused with racquetball players.
Totally noted. I'll see that gets addressed.
Let the record show that that's been identified.
We will make a note
Let
of
the
that.
record also show the tongues are firmly wedged in cheeks.
Well, thank you. Any other questions, comments? All right. Under apparatus, the shared ambulance should be available at the dealership this month. And when I wrote this, it hadn't arrived yet, but it is actually there now. So Sandwich's ambulance is up at the dealer, having equipment swaps done and preparing their new ambulance for service, and then there'll be some work done on the shared resource. And we should be able to take delivery of that mid-July. And that would, the vehicle is 20,000. We also have the ability to get a power load, which as you may recall, I mentioned to you in the past that the power load's going to Sandwich, the one that was in there originally. They're keeping it to save money on the next vehicle. We have the ability to get another one. So the total package will be approximately $43,000 delivered. Then there'll be a punch list of items to do in-house prior to getting it in service. Hopefully by August 1st, if everything goes well and we get everything in there that we need, and then we'll come in on budget on that. So.
Great job with that, chief. Thank you for your efforts there.
Thank you, and yeah,
It's not gonna be badged to it, of course, but it's the same, gonna have sandwich markings and all that designation.
it
Just
will
out of
have,
curiosity.
yeah, it'll have both.
Oh, well, no.
Yeah, it'll have patches for both, and potentially if another community wants to come into it, and then both communities want to add that in, then it would be that resource. So I think it's a start of a very interesting program that could lend itself to it could be beneficial in the future, I think, for the organization and all the communities that participate in it. So.
Since you're talking about ambulances, any updates on the other one? Okay.
No, I would, if, I'm gonna say January of 25, so would be an optimistic time frame.
25.
January, yeah, so the beginning of 25, year and a half, so, yep. So,
Okay,
yeah, and portable chargers for the vehicles have been received and installed. So the portable radio charge, yeah, I know, I thought Commissioner Fasano would be very happy to hear that.
That
So,
almost fell off his
Indeed,
chair.
finally.
yes, and that was, yeah, my appreciation to Lieutenant Memento, who was like a pit bull on this project, trying to, get all this stuff received and installed, and, closing out a very long chapter, of communication system. So, any other questions in the apparatus and equipment? Okay. And then on the facilities, the only thing we have to report is we started gathering information on adding the Plimo vent into the basement bay for the utility vehicle. There's no Plimo vent exhaust recovery system down there for that, so trying to use the capital money for the station repairs for that.
What do those tend to run?
Once all the quotes are in, I will.
Oh,
let you know.
okay, you're working at quotes. I'm sorry. Right.
Yeah, yeah. Because it's not an entire system, it's an add-on, I don't really know, it's not like we're starting from without the initial infrastructure already installed. All the other apparatus has it installed already. Any questions on the facilities? All right, well,
Oh,
And
excuse me, I
you-
did have one. I forgot to look at my notes. Do we have any timeline on the ramp repair?
no. The stairs, and we're not gonna replace the stairs.
Right,
And the ramp is just being shored up, and made safe, so. It maintains safe, it's currently safe, and it's just making sure it stays safe.
okay.
so the repairs are completed on the ramp.
Very good.
All right. Subcommittee reports. I think you're committed out at this point, eh?
Pretty much, although there's the policy advisory committee on which I still serve. We haven't necessarily re-upped, but I'm
Okay.
doing that. There was a meeting and nothing to report yet. There are no substantial outcomes for that meeting, but
Are there any other school?
yes, there is a meeting on the 22nd of with the entire committee is being reconvened, and we'll begin the conversation around planning for, that's the, I may be planning, it's the wrong word, but at least discussing alternatives for use of school. So that's something on which I can report.
Okay,
Next one.
that'd be great. Thank you, sir.
Adam,
Rick,
if I
what do you have,
may,
sir?
I wanted to ask Adam about that very issue because we still have that substantial amount of money from the warrant 2 years ago
Right.
for the comprehensive study. And I was hoping that that subcommittee wasn't going to get lost.
Yeah,
now
no,
that we've taken,
that's a big piece of the agenda. Absolutely. Yeah.
because the
Uh,
sooner
and I-
that gets started, it's
Mhm.
going to take them easily a quarter, if not 6 months, to even
Yeah.
have an outline from the options, the general options that we had talked about when we originally got that warrant through. So anyhow, I just
Yeah, no, I
give them
think
hell.
it's a great point because that, not only you and us are interested in that, I think everybody in this district is quite interested in that. As you might note from, I don't know if you saw or heard anything about the annual district meeting, but it was a fair amount of discussion around that. So, yeah, a lot of, I think now that the building or the town has voted, we'll see an uptick in activity with that subcommittee. And the discussion will be as transparent and as public as possible.
Has the town finalized its vote at this point?
Oh, yeah, that happened prior to the,
I thought they still had to meet for another vote is what I thought I understood. I could be totally wrong, but that's all right. It's
I
neither
believe
here nor
my understanding is that that has been voted on
Okay.
and approved.
there. Thank you.
You never know with the town, they might be for,
Yeah, for some reason I thought there was a recommendation that was made to do it, but I thought it hadn't been voted on. But again, I could be
Yeah.
totally right. Oh, good. We'll see what the school committee report
Yeah.
says next time.
okay.
Rick, did you have anything from your committee?
I want to thank Adam's better half. Carol took over for me on the bylaws committee presentation of that last edit that had been, I think, misunderstood and voted down the year before. And this year it came through and it verifies and enforces the legitimacy of our practice of availing ourselves of outside volunteer consultants and experts whenever they're available for ad hoc committee work. And so I feel good about having that cleaned up. Otherwise, nothing on bylaws.
Yeah, no, thanks for pointing that out, not just because it was Carol, but she digs in on something. It's impressive.
No, I thought that was great. I was happy to put some comments in there about how we had leveraged
No, I think that was also great.
resources in the past as well. So all goodness there. Okay, Rick, thank you. From a facilities needs assessment point of view, we're kind of holding Pat right now. I think the chief and I will probably have some conversations over the next month, but right now there's nothing new to report in that space. Good to know that we have that the facilities will be looked at from an overall district point of view. So I think that's positive. I think we need to continue looking and trying to come up with some options. Because I think the sooner we make some decisions on what we need, the better off we all will be. So, all right. Any other questions on committees? Any other thoughts?
All right. No.
New business, election of new Board of Fire Commissioners chairperson.
I nominate Kevin Conley for another semester.
Another semester?
Another year.
Do we have a second?
Second,
Okay. Anybody else? Yeah, go ahead.
I did want to say, Kevin, you've done a great job this year. You've also learned firsthand how long the learning curve can be.
Yes,
And I think informally, the board is well served by the point that got raised earlier about rotating the chairmanship, but I don't think annually is
No.
the right basis, because we lose the advantage of someone finally having gotten up to speed. So like if it was a 2-year cycle or something like that, we'd get more benefit out of whoever serves that first year and learns the ropes.
Yeah, I completely agree, Rick, that it makes no sense to go annually, biannually at the earliest. So we'll. I think it's really important that all the momentum that has been established continue, and that's why I made the motion that I did.
appreciate that. Thank you. Any other comment? Discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
I think we need to do by name.
Commissioner Zace, aye.
Commissioner Pisano? In favor?
Okay, Commissioner Conley, aye. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate the trust and confidence. Alrighty, I look forward to just another year. Let's see, public comment. Do we have any comments out there, Chief?
No emails and. Let's see.
Deputy Clerk is coming off of mute for a second. He may.
Nothing in the chat and anything from you, Deputy Clerk?
Well, the only thing I wanted to mention, I don't know if it's too late, when you talked about responses, one of those EMS responses was the dirt bike accident, where we had to work closely with our neighbors from Centerville Fire to extract him out of the woods. And I just wanted to mention that incident and the work that the guys that we had, the work that our guys did with our neighbors was quite beneficial to the patient.
Yeah, that's a good point. He was off on a trail, had to be extracted and then transferred and flown to Boston. So.
Were some of the new pieces of equipment?
No,
Sortie for that?
would have been, but I don't believe, I don't even know if we had them yet, but the training got complete, so we used Centerville's UTV for that call.
Good.
So.
Okay, Deputy, thank you for that. Appreciate the insight.
325 minutes, station refusal. We're clear for it.
Okay.
That's all I got, I think.
Okay, Deputy, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. No other comments?
Dave, anything?
Dave, I'm not gonna put him on
No.
the spot. I wasn't gonna put him on the spot, but hey, Dave, do you have anything to say?
I appreciate that. No, but thank you for asking. I really appreciate the opportunity.
No. Cool. All right, we have any motions?
Move we adjourn.
Oh, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Pisano, aye.
Aye. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks a lot. Have a great evening.
Thank you, guys. Good to see you all.
You as well. Glad you're looking well.
Well, it's a modicum of efficiency here.
Recording.